As someone who's generated over 600 million views, I have a pretty good understanding of how to get attention.
I would say so.
But once I get that attention and everybody gets on the page, you really specialize off platform. How do you take that customer from front end, from the attention to becoming actually a good customer?
That's a really good question. There's a lot of different pieces that play into that. The first thing that I want to cover is the offer, because the offer is really the main reason somebody's going to do business or engage with your business. And I think a lot of people overlook the offer, and they're so much more infatuated or in love with some of the shinier objects. Like sitting down and crafting a really amazing offer is not sexy, and listing out what's every problem my customer has, what's a solution I could make to every single one of those problems, how can I combine these things into deliverables, package those deliverables up into an actual naming convention of an offer, structure that out, and then how do I frame it in a way that's the most valuable to my customer? So in the last 30 seconds, I just told you the exact process of making an offer, but none of that sounds sexy. None of that sounds like fun to do. That sounds like work, right?
Sounds like I need to hire you.
Right. Versus people are so obsessed with what's the newest ad format, and those things certainly matter, but people are way too obsessed with like, what's the newest funnel I can run? What's the newest software, right? And they're outsourcing. The best one that I see, that particularly in the info space and the coaching space and all that sort of things, is I see this time and time again. People will continue to improve the product. And please do not take this as me saying you should have a bad product. That is not what I'm saying. What I am saying is that once you're 80% as good as your competition or 90%, continuing to improve your product when nobody knows who the fuck you are is a complete waste of time, because it doesn't matter how good you are if no one knows who you are. You need to become known. And then the only way that you're going to improve that product to make it 100% or 110% is by getting reps, right? Here's a perfect example to explain what I mean is like, if you're getting into sales, you can read every possible book on sales, but until you've taken your first 100, 200, 300 calls, like your first 10 calls are going to teach you more about sales than the 100 books you read on sales.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like time in the game is going to mean more than anything else. So again, to reiterate, I'm not saying have a bad product. I'm just saying you reach a point where you're sufficient enough, and then you need to do the uncomfortable work of letting people know you exist and getting reps in to know how to improve the product. Because I'm the business owner, I'm naturally biased. I have holes in my own delivery and cognitive biases that prevent me from seeing gaps in my own delivery. And guess who's gonna tell me that? My customers. And again, it can be scary because you're like, well, I don't wanna have a bad experience. Like I don't wanna not do it right. I don't wanna have somebody not think I'm amazing, right? Because everybody wants, whenever you service a customer, you always wanna do an amazing job, right? And so I don't wanna have people to have that perception of me, but it's like, that is what's going to prevent you from truly having a world-class product. It's like the gap between being 80% as good and the best in your market is who has the most volume and who puts in the work to iterate on that. So that's the first thing.
That reminds me of a quote I read from Hermosi. He basically said something along the lines of, if you're learning without implementing, you're just entertaining yourself.
Yeah, I've created some thoughts that are similar to that. Yeah, it's like knowledge without implementation is just entertainment, masqueraded as progress. You are fooling yourself into thinking you're getting better because you're actually delaying the reps. You're delaying the time on the field by preparing more because you're thinking that's going to improve your performance in the field. When in reality, the best thing you can do for your performance is to get on the field. But I also want to call out that that's uncomfortable and it sucks and it's painful and rejection sucks. So it's like, I'm acknowledging those feelings that somebody watching might have about getting on the field. And they're like, oh, Kevin, you make it sound so easy. It's not easy. But like, it's what you have to do. The thing is like, well, how do I know if my product's good enough? How do I know my offer is good enough? It's like, I know an offer is good enough when the business owner or the founder, the entrepreneur is so obsessed with making their product so good that they're concerned it's bad when it's clearly good. Okay? Like 90+% of your customers all have a wildly positive experience of you, and you're still like stressing out over like the smallest little thing of like, how can I make this better? Like, that's how I know you have an amazing product.
The imposter syndrome.
Yeah, it's like you're like winners put in so much effort and then still worry that they'll lose. Whereas like losers put in a little bit of effort and wonder why they're not winning. It's a total flip.
I like that.
You know? And so it's like you can acknowledge that in your own behavior. It's not something I can necessarily write out on a spreadsheet and be like, oh, if this metric is above this, you have a good product. It's kind of an innate feeling, but when I go into a business and I look at the business owner and I look at the product, I can intuitively tell like, okay, this person's got a good setup here. Diving headfirst into that uncertainty is what's going to make you win, right? The gains that come in business come from uncertainty inherently because they are things that you will take on that other people will not take on. And if you can take those on, you can reap the rewards of that, right? And it's like, you go on social media, you scroll all the time, and it's like, people are like, oh, business owners make way too much money, like tax them, right? And it's like, that's fine. People are allowed to think whatever they want to think. If they think like, hey, making $30,000 a month, you don't need that much, or you don't need billions of dollars, whatever. Like, I'm cool with you thinking that. I would just ask that person bring to the forefront of their mind that business owner probably worked for 24 hours and lost money. Okay? They paid their team and they lost $10,000 that month, $100,000 that month. We had a client who she skipped a workshop so the story is, we met her, one of our co-founders met her at Hermosi's workshop, like the 35K mastermind day. Yeah. He met her there. They started linking up, like, and he was describing kind of what we do, and she's running the 3-day workshop. She's like, oh, I think he can help me. He rings me in intermission and is like, I got a lead for you. I need you to make me a Loom video with this. Her team's going to send you the metrics, break it down, send her a Loom video. I need it in 3 hours. So I stop what I'm doing. I drop everything. I go to my desk. I start going through the data. I'm doing an audit. I'm making drawings. I record like a 35-minute Loom. I send it to her, and she starts watching it. And within 24 hours, she had basically signed a contract with us and fired her old media team within a day, right? And then the second part of that story is that because we were brand new, it's not expected that we get up to speed in a week. So we're like, look, we're going to need like 4 weeks. And so she had to skip one of her 3-day events that she runs every month and has for 5 years. But guess what? She still fronted, I don't know the exact number, so I'm not necessarily gonna make an exact claim, but it was in the 6 figures of payroll that she had to take to the face to skip this to, by the way, we charged 2.5 times what her old agency did. So not only did she fire them, she hired us for 2.5 times the cost and then had to pay her whole team. Yeah, what I'm trying to illustrate here is until you've been the one who, like, you got to know what that, like, the feeling of that is unbelievable, right? To take a multi-6-figure loss and then, like, yeah, you're going to get that upside because she's diving so far into uncertainty that's where the upside lives for her. But it's just like understanding that the reason she wins is not because she's lucky. It's has something to do with that. You got to have lucky. The ball has to bounce your way at some point. But A, the more shots on goal you take, the more likely you are to score a basket. And B, it's like she's also, opportunities present themselves to those who present themselves.
Agreed.
She's putting herself in an environment to get lucky. It's right. It's like impatient with your inputs, patient with your outputs. I can't control if somebody buys, but I can make all the phone calls. I can't control necessarily if a video goes viral, but I can make all the pieces of content. I can make the dials. I can run the ads. I can run the workshops. I can write the emails. I can do the outreach. I can do all that. I should be impatient with that. I should be absolutely intolerable of what I know I need to be doing because I can control it versus the output of like, okay, obviously I can't pay my rent on how many people I DM'd this month.
Correct.
But if you're struggling to be patient, all that means is you got to find something to do in the meantime. What's the best thing to do in the meantime? Focus on more input. Be so busy with your input, you don't even damn near recognize the output.
Right.
Because you just know that it's going to come, right? And that's where it's like, if I think of like the concept of like manifestation, I think that has a lot of woo-woo spiritualness behind it. But really what I think of it is like, because I do that or envision or whatever. But really what I think of that is I'm like kind of in the suck, which is, you can reframe suck to be a good thing. So, pain is a part of life, but suffering is a choice. That was from Tony Robbins' podcast with Hermosi. Love that. Because it's just like every time I tell myself something's bad, I'm like, I'm choosing to tell myself this sucks. Yeah, I could tell myself this is fun. I could tell myself this is a growing opportunity. I could tell myself that this is a benefit, right? Like any dudes out there going through a breakup, I promise you, it's going to be the best thing that ever happened to you, right? If you frame it the right way and you're like, damn, this is such a blessing to go through this pain because it's literally rocket fuel for my goals. If you look at it that way and like, wow, it's an opportunity to, it's so grateful that I get to feel something. Because we're all so numbed out and tapped out because our dopamine stores are through the fucking floor because of IG Reels and every single media and AI ads, and we're just tapped out. You have to be delusionally optimistic in your own mind to be able to stick it out to achieve the thing that it is you want to achieve, right? Because otherwise you're never going to get there. And as you accrue these little wins along the way of making more money or getting that network connection or, you know, making that outreach or the milestones that you're going to hit along the way, you reach new levels of awareness in your own mind. And I know, super off track. I'll bring it in. I think one of the coolest things about leveling up that I kind of keep in the forefront of my mind as I'm like embracing the struggle that I'm going through or embracing the pain period, because like rapid growth is super painful. So if you find yourself like in pain with your business a lot, it's because you're growing really fast, right?
So new problems are showing up.
Yeah, new problems are showing up. Like this. Like, dude, I had like 25 hours of calls this week. Before that, it's been like 8. And like we had a fire every day today, but it's like I look back in the week, I'm like, damn, survive that shit. You know what I mean? It's like all that pain is it's a compactor on your own growth of like forging you. Sounds kind of cringe, but like forging you into a diamond, so to speak, out of the coal of being able to handle all that pressure weighing down on you. To tie that back, there are known knowns, there are known unknowns, and there are unknown unknowns. There are things I know how to solve that I have the solution to. There are things I know I need to solve that I don't have the solution to. And there's problems I don't even know exist yet and I don't have the solutions to.
That's banger.
And there's also decisions that I can make in those 3 categories, right? There's decisions that I have made that I know to make. There's decisions that are on the precipice. I'm about to have to make them. And there's decisions that I'm not even aware of that I can make yet. And it's that last category that as you level up, new decisions become available to you to be able to make. And that is really, really exciting. And that is what I remind myself personally to keep going when I need to. Is like, I know that by doing the work here in this moment, that in 6 months from now, I'm going to unlock the ability to be able to make a decision I previously was not even aware of being able to do. That thought of the unknown is how I reframe it and brainwash myself into being excited about uncertainty. Maybe even clip this into its own 10 or 15 minute segment, but I hope in the last 15, 10 minutes, whatever it's been, is like, I'm leading a path for you of, we started with uncertainty being pain, rejection, everybody fucking hates it, to being able to be like, wow, actually uncertainty is a really big opportunity. And like, man, I'm gonna try and lean into it. Maybe not all at once, maybe you don't dive in, that's fine. But like just starting to lean into that uncertainty, because that's what lives on the other side. And I still see myself as a small fry. I still see myself as somebody who hasn't achieved shit. And the reason I do that is to keep myself humble and to be able to continue to learn. Right? So it's like, I never convince myself I'm smarter than I am. Everybody I bump into, I try to see if they can teach me something. I'm trying to see if I can take some of their wisdom. I can always obviously give 10 times more back is my goal, and lead with generosity. But just think about all the things you don't know exist yet. Right? And that's like, particularly as I've spent last point on this, as I've spent more time with people who are in touch with God and people who are in touch with Jesus. And it speaks to that unknown category really well. Because there's unknown unknowns in the positive and there's unknown unknowns in the negative. It's like I could have a cancerous tumor growing in me right now. I have no idea, right? Yeah. But it's like I admire the people who have found a relationship religiously or in their faith or with the universe or whatever it is. I don't necessarily have to. It doesn't have to. You know, whatever does it for you, right? But have found some sort of external relationship that they can subscribe to. That's like, if I believe and have faith, like this entity or thing or whatever is going to be watching over the unknown unknowns that I personally experience, right? And you combine that with all the things that are coming your way that if you stick through that you don't know exist yet, it's going to come your way and immediately in a heartbeat, it's going to hit all in a wave and be like, it's all worth it. And it's like, once you've experienced that once, you get that little hit in that reinforcement cycle of like, okay, it was worth sticking it out. And it's like, you start winning and it just continues to be easier to keep winning.
I think you're so right. I just, you know what I thought about when you said all that?
Yeah.
Like someone hopped on a boat one time and I'm like, I'm gonna cross the fucking ocean. I have no clue what's gonna happen, what storm's gonna hit me, if this boat can survive it.
Yeah.
But all right, we got this. And because they reached there, now they found all this knowledge.
Yeah.
And now we figured out how to have the craziest naval ships and it's a piece of cake, basically.
Yeah.
That uncertainty though, someone had to be crazy or delusional enough to get there.
And now their name goes down in history forever. And maybe you don't want that. That's not necessarily what I'm advocating for, but just even in your own life, man, like you can be the one that breaks the family lineage. Like if your family has a habit of doing this, you could be the one. And that's not going to make you IG famous, but it will make you generationally famous. It'll make you genetically famous of like, shit, I was the one that
genetically famous. I like
hey, that's a new, maybe we're coining that, but it's like, that could be the thing that you do is like, you're the one to break it. It doesn't have to be like this this ego-driven thing for the status of other humans. It could just be like, I did better for my children than my parents did on me. And it's not, again, it's not a competition, but it's like continually raising the bar. Because, right, like, who's really the only people in the world that want you to do better than you? It's your parents, bro.
100%.
Like,
100%.
Your parents and your siblings, like, those are, you got to cherish those memories. And if you are lucky enough to have some genuine friends that are genuinely stoked for you when you win, that's about the only amount of people in your life that are going to be happy when you win. So do not throw those friendships away.
1 in a billion.
Yeah, like, it's so rare you find somebody who's legit stoked, because it's super easy to cheer for somebody when they're not at your level yet, right?
100%.
Like I go in the gym and I know a thing or two about working out, right? Like, I've done it once or twice.
Natural pro, by the way.
Right? I've done it once or twice, but and so stating my own bias, it's easy for me to cheer somebody on who's just getting started or in their first year or two, but it takes a whole nother level of person and friend and man to be like, somebody's better than me, and I'm genuinely stoked for you, man. I'm genuinely happy that you're out achieving me, because it's not a competition.
It's not.
Right? And it's just like, I'm just happy to see you win because I'm your buddy or I'm your friend or whatever. You know, I think a lot of people try to have 100 pennies. I'd personally rather have 4 quarters and, you know, just like invest more into a very few select set of people. And I'm telling you, as somebody who didn't have those friendships for a long time, like, it was like, you know, you had the boys, but it was very surface level. And like, now having finally found a small little handful of people that are like genuinely stoked when I win, dude, it changes the game.
It does.
It's like a different world. You know what I mean? So
that's the real definition of iron sharpens iron right there.
Hell yeah. Anyway, offers, transitioning, we're going to slide right into it. How do you make the money? How do you make this all a reality?
Yeah,
Well, you start a great business, you service people, you get great results, and people keep telling their friends and keep coming back and buying more. So how do you do that? Okay, first thing is, when it comes to creating a good offer is, well, first of all, let's talk about the framing of an offer, because there's this idea from Robert Cialdini. It's a book, actually. It's called Persuasion, which is what people see before the offer influences what they think of the offer. Perfect example. If let's say you got a big project, you hire me for a big, like, wedding or something like that, and I'm filming for you, right? And I tell you the videos are going to take 2 weeks, and I get them back to you in a week. Are you happy or are you mad?
You're great. Like, wow, you overachieved.
Exactly. If I tell you I'm going to get the videos to you in 3 days and it takes a week, are you happy or are you pissed?
I'm like, you lied to me.
Exactly. In both times, you got the videos in a week. What's the difference? What you experienced before the actual result. Now, that's not an offer. Getting you videos in a week's not an offer, but it highlights the point, which is how I pre-frame the experience influences what you think of the experience, even if the experience is the exact same.
That's really solid.
So that is one thing to really keep in mind. And when I look at, gonna drop some right here. Okay. When I look at people who are dealing with like low quality clients who are annoying, right? What happens a lot of times, not every time, because it can be so many different things, but what happens a lot of time is what people do is like, okay, I'm gonna look at my competitors. I'm gonna roughly see what they do, right? And I'm gonna offer just a little bit more, and I'm gonna do it for a little bit less. And so what happens is when you try to compete on promise, I got to be really careful how I say this, because like, you do want to have a good promise. You do want to have a good result, a dream outcome that people are working towards. But when you overcompete on making things like way too easy, and your selling point is like things are going to be frictionless and things are going to be easy and like no stress and it's not going to be work. And it's like, the problem with that though is you attract people who now expect those things because you have pre-framed them to expect those things.
Bingo.
If I make a fitness ad and I'm like, you only got to work out 2 times a week, you don't got to track macros. Now when you come into my program and I give you the littlest bit of work, you're pissed because you're like, you told me it was going to be easy, right? Versus if I'm like, hey, look, I know I'm going to ask you to do a lot of things you don't want to do. I'm going to ask you to stop doing a lot of things you like doing. And it's going to cost you a lot of money to work with me because I'm a premium service and it's going to take a long time. However, it's going to be the greatest thing you ever do for your life because you will have an asset, which is your body, that regardless of what clothes you put on it, regardless of what house it lives in, regardless of what car it drives and what woman it's next to or man, whatever you're into, you will always have that asset with you. It can't be taken away from you. Now, when you get in the program, and it's going to be easier than what you expected because I already anchored you. It's like emotional anchoring. Like, have you heard of like a price anchor where like, hey, the price is, I have one offer that's 10K. And then you're like, ooh, that's kind of a lot. But then I'm like, oh, but this offer, which I actually think is better for you, is 2K. No, all of a sudden 2K seems like not very much.
A great deal.
Right, it's a great deal, right? And some people are going to be like, that's manipulation. Right? It's framing. Big difference. Manipulation is when you change somebody's thoughts for your own benefit. When I sell, an ethical marketer does it for the benefit of both the business, for sure, but also the consumer. I don't consider that manipulation. Some people will. That's how I justify it. If you still think the other way, I don't really care.
Facts.
That's why competing on promise and competing on price is tough, because it's a race to the bottom. It's like, who can do the most for the least? I don't know about you. That's not a business I want to be involved in. That sucks,
agree.
right?
I
And
used
that's
to
not
do that.
everybody is started there, has been there, currently there. Every single entrepreneur knows that feeling, because it intuitively makes the most sense. I'm going to do more, and I'm going to do a little bit more, and I'm going to charge a little bit less. But it's like, what's another way I can say this? Everybody wants to work with financially qualified prospects. Who doesn't want to work with somebody where like finances is not even a concern? They have other concerns, right? Namely, people with money generally have less time and energy, right? And so when you lead with price, you're naturally attracting people who care about price.
Yes.
People with disposable income, or primarily businesses, that's why selling to businesses is way easier, because it's all ROI for them. If you can make a logical plan of how they're going to make 5 times on their money, it could be $100,000, right?
Exactly.
Like if I had a backpack and I said, hey, you want to buy that backpack for 10 grand? And I'm like, there's $100,000 in it. You don't give a shit how expensive it is, right? Like, because there's 100 grand in it, right? So it's like, even if you pay 50, even if you pay 99 grand for it, you're like, if you say you understood that there was 100 grand in there, you would pay for it.
Absolutely.
So it's like, you don't talk about things they don't value.
Right.
Right? It's like, if I'm in the market to fly private and you're trying to sell me on we're the lowest cost private jet, I don't care.
Right.
I don't care. I'm not flying private to save money.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so I find it so funny when people have like these, or I guess like funny or just like nonsensical, which again, I also don't want to be like too judgmental of people who can't see their own, like the flaws in their own marketing, because I can't see the flaws in my own marketing. It's like trying to critique your own golf swing. I think I should be smacking that driver 300 down the ring, but you see me from a third person, like, dude, you're slicing your arms, you're dropping your hip, like it looks like shit, right? It's obvious to somebody from a third person point of view. It's like, another way to think of it is like, if I'm standing like this close to a wall and the wall is only 5 feet wide, but I'm so close to it, I can't see that I can just go around because I'm this close.
That's very true.
But you're standing there, you're like, dude, just back up 2 steps and take 1 step to the right. You're around the problem. But I'm too close to it. I'm in the bottle. I can't see the label on the bottle.
You're right. I mean, even think about it like Lamborghini. You'll never see Lamborghini. Oh, here's a Christmas sale on the Aventador.
Yeah.
It's like, what
does
are you, broke?
Rolex discount their watches?
Yeah.
No, because their audience doesn't care.
They're like, we don't have this watch for you.
Right.
You need to buy 7 more Rolexes before I even think about giving you that watch.
That actually is a thing. That is how it works. Yeah. But yeah, so if you're going after a wealthier demographic, that's what you have to do. Now, if you're Walmart makes a ton of money. But it's also like, keep in mind, there's one Walmart. And so there's no advantage in the market for being second cheapest. 0. It's only a benefit for the cheapest. Because if you're the cheapest, you're marketing to people who care about the cheapest. And they're going to go after the cheapest no matter what it is. So it's like, if you're going to compete on price, you better make sure you can destroy everybody, or don't even play the game.
Agreed.
Right? You want to go into the market of people who don't like how much something costs is not the first thing on their mind. And of course, rich people are like any other group of people. They want to make a good decision. Who doesn't love a good deal? However, it's not their first consideration. It's like, how much time is this going to take? How much effort is this going to take? How much energy? Am I going to have to work late? You know, can I still hang out with my kids on Saturday? Like, am I going to have to donate too much time to like get this done? Like, that's what they care about. And then money's like down here.
Yeah.
Still a consideration, but not nearly as important. So where I'm going with all this is another mental framework to wrap that point up is like, obviously the irresistible offer thing is really hot right now. The reason I don't really like that tonality, and I don't think it works very well, is because I call it irresistible versus sensational offers. So irresistible is like, when I think of irresistible, I think of like a luxurious chocolate. You know, I just spent some time in Switzerland a month and a half ago, and like they got the best chocolate in the world, right? And so when I think of irresistible, I think of like a really good chocolate or really good Italian dinner, like something that's just like, oh, I can't stay away from it.
Yeah.
I can't stay away from it, but it's like, it's so high quality. It's like, oh, irresistible, right? That's what I think of. That's the connotation that has to me. When I think of sensational, I think of the people who are like, and you can tell in marketing language, since like people who are being sensational, they're like overly expressive of different elements of the offer, right? Like if I were to say, hey, you'll get the result fast. Instead, if I say like, you'll skyrocket your results. Like you'll slingshot your results past anything you could imagine. I just said the same thing, but I'm way more sensational over here. And the people that subscribe to that sort of stuff, you're using more words to describe the same thing, which people who are like serious about making a buying decision, they just want to know the information.
Yeah.
Like they just want
Be straight
they
up.
just want the information, right? And so you're playing to people who that means something to them. Like they're like caught in by the verbiage, right? Which is not to say that your marketing message doesn't matter. It of course does, but that's how I see the two buckets. And so when you make sensational offers and you over describe and you way over, obviously marketing is all packaging, but when you way overemphasize what your product can do, then you get people who are going to be expecting that. And the problem with selling like B2B services or services in general to people with low budgets is that they expect you, they're paying you a bigger portion of their world. So if you pay me, let's say you make $10,000 a month and you pay me $2,000 a month as like a retainer to do something, that's 20% of my world. Versus like if a business makes $1 million a month and they pay me $10,000, that's 1% of their world.
Exactly.
5 times more, but it's 200 times less or 20 times less of their world. So you got to think about it in ratios of what the company makes or the business makes or the person makes relative to what you're charging them. Because the bigger percentage you're charging of their world, the more they're going to expect from you. And then that is a death spiral to crashing into the ground head first. Because it's like, that's why when I'm working with like a company and I'm doing their advertising and they're like, this campaign has to work, right? I'm like, all right, we're done.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like, there's no guarantees. Like
Absolutely.
Now you've just added pressure. You've made it awkward and like, I don't want to be a part of it anymore. And so it's like these clients that are, the sensational offers bring in desperate clients, and desperate clients expect more for less, for longer, you to go out, stick your neck out of the way. And then you're burned out and you're pissed off and you're resentful. And then no matter what you deliver to them, it's never good enough. It's always like, oh, can you make one more little edit? Or like, hey, like you guys both in the editing space, you guys fucking get it. It's like they've always got one little extra comment to make. And they're always the slowest ones to pay the invoices too, man. Fuck. Like,
It's like, hey, brother, it's been 3 weeks.
Right? Like
done.
I pride myself on being a fast invoice payer. I'm like, because it's like, I know, like it's a token into the relationship of like, cool, I'm going to do this for you fast. And then guess what? You're going to be that much more inclined to like kick me my videos faster.
Exactly.
I know how the game works, right? Like send that invoice. I'm paying that shit in an hour. If I'm by my computer, right? I'll pay it right away. Everybody in every industry deals with the whole like desperate clients thing. It's not unique to any industry. It's a psychology of a person. And so it's like, you have to think about how you position what you do to ideally move away from those types of people if you want to move away from those types of people. Yeah, you got any recaps on that? Or I
mean, I'll tell you from my experience, when I first started out, people would just care about, here's a flat fee and I want this many videos. And they'll be the biggest pain in the ass to work with, no matter how many results I got them.
Yeah.
Now I'm like, oh, you want to do content? Well, it's likely that in 3 months you won't get a single dollar if you're not like going to do it. I set the highest expectations.
Yeah.
If they're not willing to do that, I'm like, you're going to suck. And now you can also, you can charge a percentage from people, right? Like, you don't have to, I'm going to be $20,000 a month. Like, that's a lot. Okay, cool. Just give me, how about don't pay me nothing, but give me 10% of everything I generate. Damn, you're confident. That you raise your value even much, so much higher like that. Right. I've noticed. And
it's like the reason we all pay for Amazon Prime, dude. That's a great example of it's not about money because you're literally paying more, but I just want the speed of it, right? Like
yes.
I'm just literally just paying for speed. Like it's just another example of time, money, effort, energy, family time. It's like all these different things that people want. And yeah.
Yeah. It's the expectation, right?
Exactly, right? Yeah. But then when I'm expecting 2 days and they're like, oh, we can give it to you in 1 day for free. I'm like,
yeah. You're like, sweet. If I want to make more money today and I'm just positioning myself like everybody else, what's one way I can position myself differently where I'll have better clients and a better time doing what I do best?
Good question. So all the messaging things that we just talked about in this video, like literally you could transcribe this podcast, throw it into like Poppy or Claude or whatever and transcribe it and then ask it to summarize it and then give it your offer and then have it redo it. Like literally go do that and it'll probably be better. But beyond that too, another thing, this one is some serious game. Okay. Here's the thing is the types of clients, like you got to engineer, like marketing is all about engineering. If you have identified that you work well with a certain type of demographic, let's say, for example, what's a universally agreed upon trait for like an attractive trait for people? I'm certainly not wording this in the best way. What I'm thinking of is reading. So like when I hear that somebody reads, I'm like, whoa, that's a smart fellow. You know what I mean? Like in a world that has been TikTokified, to have the discipline to put down all your electronics, put on a light, and maybe like play some lo-fi music. That's personally what I do to like, because sometimes if I'm reading like a door opening or somebody slamming the thing down below me, like will break my focus. To have the discipline to sit down and just read, that single trait is a proxy for a lot of other traits. It's the same reason we universally respect people who are in shape. Because it's like, I know that you being in shape means you do 7 other things that I can like proxy for. Obviously, you can have people that are in shape that are like genetically just elite. You can have people that are taking stuff. Like you can have people who are like anorexic. Like sure, it's not 100%, but like it correlates with certain traits. So what I'm getting at is you want to attract people in your marketing that in order for them to go through your process, they have to have those desirable traits to make it all the way through. Example, this is why I love virtual events, because if I'm promoting an offer through a 3-hour workshop and the only way you can buy my offer is by sitting on my 3-hour workshop, what do you probably have? You probably have a lot of patience, because in the world where everybody can make the excuse of everybody's got a list of excuses for why they can't do something. We all do, right? And it just means that we don't want it enough.
We don't prioritize it.
Yeah, it's like, I got Netflix. Oh, I got to get to sleep early. I've been trying to get my sleep habits. And it's like, okay, yeah, but if your kids got kidnapped, you're going to be like, I'll get to them tomorrow. I got to get to sleep. No, you're not.
Top
right?
of the list.
Exactly. So when I think about workshops and running virtual events, that's why they're so powerful, because the type of person that's going to sit through a 2 to 3 hour workshop to get to an offer is a type of person I want to work with, right? And I'm not saying a workshop makes sense for every single type of business, but they work for a lot more types of businesses than you would think, right? And it's like, then your offer just becomes the necessary and obvious next step to doing whatever you talked about in the workshop, right? Like if I think about it from your guys' context, is like content, right? Like that's the main thing that you offer in different formats in different ways. But it's like, if you could craft a workshop around why content is so important and why it's going to set you apart and leveraging yourself on video. And, if you were to make the analogy that every video you make is like a little bit of a salesperson that's knocking on every door and finding your type of people and bringing them to you, how many videos would you create? Oh, I'd be really creating a lot of videos. Well, guess what? I actually have a video service that's completely done for you. It takes you 2 hours a month. You come on in, I script out your stuff, I shoot it, I edit it, and I post it for you. And then you're done. And then we create 60 pieces a month. And they're going to be like these little door knockers that are going out and finding people and bringing leads into your business, right? And it's, we have this price, we have this price, we have this price, depending on how much content you need and what level of high touch you would like, and which one makes the most sense for you.
That's pretty banger. Yeah.
And that's like when you go through that flow, then that person who ends up buying is going to be a way higher quality person because they came through your process. Now, if I take it in the contrary, or a different example that I personally hate this type of funnel, which is DM funnels.
Oh,
they can work, but my God, are they volatile? And you get usually the trashiest, lowest quality leads, right? Because one golden rule of marketing is that friction is inversely related to flow. So the more friction you have, the less flow you have. And so if I make it really easy to opt in by having no friction, the flow is going to be really high, but the quality is going to be garbage. Generally, the higher the flow, the lower the quality. So it's like this, it's not a light switch, it's a radio dial. It's like turning up the friction, turning down the flow to get it just right, where you get enough people through and you're not disqualifying too many people, but the people that do make it through have actually taken some action. Because when you have a DM ad, it's literally as easy as now, it's like clicking 2 buttons, like done. I've accidentally opted into a DM funnel. Think about the quality of a lead coming through a funnel you can accidentally opt into.
They're probably not even going to show up.
Yeah. Like, are you going to have people that are accidentally going to opt into your workshop and then show up for 2 hours?
No.
That's not an accident. That's very intentional. And to Fabian's point behind the camera of like, you pointed this out is really good, which is the intent of people on YouTube versus Instagram. That's why I don't try and necessarily make a ton. Like my Instagram content is not designed to get clients. It's not. It's designed to establish who I am and make associations and build brand. So that way when people from YouTube who discover me land on Instagram, they understand like who I am, what I'm about. But you're not gonna be sold on my agency offer by watching my IG content. You're probably gonna be able to relate to me and think, oh, this guy's a cool guy, or like, oh, this guy's a freaking loser, or whatever you think, right? Like that's the type of impression you're gonna get from landing on my Instagram page. But my moneymaker is YouTube, man. Like that's why I'm going all in on making long form YouTube videos, because the type of person that's gonna search in the search bar at 11 o'clock at night on how to solve a problem, and my video is gonna pop up about pixel conditioning for consistent lead quality. And they're gonna be like, oh, I gotta watch that, right? And they're like, oh, this is what I've been trying to tell my team to do. Oh, I'm gonna book a call, right? Like all the actions that person, like that's why you have to think of it like a full funnel thing. It's not just like just running ads or just call funnels or just sales. Like it's a comprehensive process of being like, what touch points has this person experienced going from A to Z that brings them into my world, right? And so it's like back to the DM funnel thing. This is again primarily with like the coaching space, or it could just be industry services in general. Is when people are, we all know this person. They're like, they take really long to respond, right? Or it's like, you know what I mean? Like you respond quick, and then like then they're gone for 48 hours, you know, or like they're like super excited to go, and then you send the invoice, and it's like, you know, where are we at, right? Mm-hmm. The problem with that is if you actually end up signing that person, they're going to be an absolute nightmare. It's whatever you get in dating, you're going to get in marriage. Like, don't think that putting a ring on it changes the person. It might for a day, but they're the same person. So don't think them paying the invoice fucking finally is going to make them a different person. They're still going to be like, hey, I need you to get the onboarding forms done. Come on, man. I need you to get the onboarding forms done. Okay, cool. I need you to schedule your appointment with me. Come on. Like, hey, confirm. We got it. We're meeting here at, 6:30 and tomorrow morning. We got to film, dude. Like, come on. Like, they're going to be dragging, like, you're going to have to drag them like a dog that doesn't want to be walked. Like, that's not fun.
It's not fun for either party.
Right. Yeah. Versus like, that's why I told you that story about that client that we had that she fired her media team and we signed her in like 2 days or like 24 hours. She's been a pleasure to work with. Guess what? When I give her 30 ad scripts, she's the first one I get ads from back. When I'm on her team about like, I need this. Granted, her team's not as like savagely hungry as she is, but like she's installed that company culture where it's like, when I get a message from a client at like midnight on a Saturday, I'm impressed. I'm like, you're a degenerate just like me. You have no life just like me.
You're like, about this life.
I was like, well done. You want to win, right? But the reason I knew she was going to be a joy to work with was because in the marketing process, we set it up in a way and she behaved in a way that let me know that when she was on the inside, she's going to win, right? And ultimately, I guess thing I can cap this off with, depending on how much time we have, is if you look at I think a great example of this is a school like Harvard. So consider Harvard, right? Tons of clout. Like, I went to Harvard, I got a Harvard law degree. Now, do you think that the teachers at Harvard know something magical that no other teachers on planet Earth know about? Or if we expand it to Ivy League schools, do they have some sort of teaching process that is like innately special to them that nobody else knows?
Oh, they just have clout.
Well, we're going to the root cause of why they have clout, right? So it's like the answer is probably no. They probably don't have some alien level teaching method that isn't discovered. Otherwise, people who graduate there would probably just go resell the method, right? What Harvard does, and this is going to sound obvious, like when I point it out, but then you're going to be like, oh, that's genius, is they just pick people that are already winners and then slap a Harvard degree on them. And then that person, because they're a winner, is going to go out and continue to win. And they're going to say, I'm from Harvard. So now Harvard has this rep of like, we create all the best badass lawyers. We create the best, people with MBAs. Do they?
They're just good recruiters.
They're just good recruiters. Or do they just have the best marketing? They brought in the people that were already going to be savages and accelerated them. And now they've got the Harvard stamp for the rest of their life. And they go out and they rep that brand. I'm from Harvard. I'm from Harvard. What does that make other winners want to do more? Go to Harvard.
So we should be like Harvard in terms of getting clients. Just
pick
winners.
Like pick winners and accelerate people who are already winners. And then they're going to be like, yeah, Fabian helped me. Mate helped me. Kevin helped me. Like, yeah, they helped me do it. Right. And then all the other winners are going to be like, because like, if I'm a winner, I want to hang around other winners. I want to see what they do. And they're going to be like, yeah, I worked with this guy. But like, we all know like they were already going to win. I just helped them get there.
That's a great analogy.
Do you know what I mean? Like, think about that in your marketing. It's like, I know that in this episode, I know I've thrown around a lot of things that are a little bit more abstract and we didn't really get into like the the super tactical things. That's also by design. Because in this video, I'm trying to talk to people who are a little bit further along. I'm not necessarily trying to talk to people who are like, I need you to write out exactly what I need me to do, right? I'm not really trying to do that. And so those people are going to feel like they're getting a little lost, which is what I want them to feel, right? I want them to be like, like this is a little too high level for me. I'm going to go watch a more like beginner oriented video, which is totally fine. But like, I'm also strategically in the way that I talk, discouraging those people a little bit, right? Because I'm using language that winners are going to resonate with, and they're going to be like, oh, I want to do business with Kevin because I'm a winner.
Yeah, exactly.
It's woven into everything that I'm doing. So, I think between the sensational offers thing and I guess there's a couple. I guess to end on one final note too is like everybody is competing on the short term. They're so obsessed with getting the sale today, which is like cool. You got to pay the bills. Totally get it. They're obsessed with getting the sale today that it prevents them from planting the seeds that grow into clients later. And so one belief that I have, especially in my business, and you guys can, anybody watching, you two in the room can subscribe to this if it serves you, is I do not believe my best clients are found. I believe my best clients are made. Like I believe that my marketing process, truly complete, is not just buy now, click here, sign up here. It's not like direct response. Sure, you can use that to get started, to get some sales coming in. But over the long term, it needs to evolve into how do I build an end-to-end process that literally makes the clients, that makes them into winners, right? Like I put content up in front of them that's maybe starts out as motivational, and then it talks about the problem they're experiencing, and then it talks about a solution, all right? And then I get them to a workshop, and then I sell them my offer. That person went from not knowing who the hell I was or that they even had a problem to leveling them up a little bit each way to creating a winner. And it's like, that's like the meta of this whole thing is start by selecting winners. You can do that through direct response by making the right messaging. You can find winners and call them to you. Like be a Harvard bro. It's so much easier. I'll be honest. When I post wins on my story of like 5, and this is me being totally candid and transparent, and nobody else is going to say this. When we post wins of like, hey, we did $500,000 a month, or we did $1 million a month with this workshop, or $100K with this workshop, those people are going to win, man. They were going to get to $1 million a month anyway. And I can candidly tell you that. We got them there faster. We helped them accelerate, but they were already a team of A players.
Yeah.
We didn't magically make them A players. And now that theoretically hurts my brand, but I don't care because it's true.
It is true.
It's true. Like I'm just telling the truth, man. It's like they were going to win either way. We just helped them go a little faster, but that's what they value. They value being able to go as fast as possible. And that's why they see the value in our service, right? Now, granted, we got some ad plays and some funnel plays that are like, they're good. But like, I would be completely lying if I said we took a business that was doing $10,000 a month on their workshop and brought them all the way up to $1 million. And that's all because of us. Like we turned them into winners. Like, no, that would be disingenuous and lying, which a lot of the people are cool with. I'm not. But yeah, man, I think there's a lot more here, but I think that wraps it up for taking action. If you go out and you're a high level business owner and you take action on everything that I just said, you will certainly see an increase in quality. Now, it's not easy. It's going to be hard. It's a lot of work. It's tearing down a lot of things, and see, I'm framing it. Persuasion. It's going to be a lot of work, but then once you start to see the patterns of like, I'm telling you, the first time you get that message in your Slack channel of your sales team being like, the leads this week were so good. You're gonna be like, it was all worth it. You know what I mean? Like you're gonna get that extra bump in sales this week, or your sales team's gonna be like, that was so much better than last week. Keep doing what you're doing, right? And you're gonna keep on keeping on. You're gonna keep winning, and just keep watching content and keep getting better.
Fantastic. That's super solid advice. The last 10 minutes.
All right, I know we went over. I apologize. I appreciate you a lot for letting me rip there. I felt like that piece of content I think is gonna be like immortalized.
The Harvard one.
You know what I mean? Like
banger, bro.
I'm gonna watch that in 20 years and be like, keep on keeping on, brother. Like,
I mean, that one.
Like that's almost a note to me in 10 years from now to be like, hey, the future version of me in 10 years is.
That's why I said somebody's gonna be able to hear that too, and that's gonna be like, that's what I needed to hear.
Yeah, and it's like, but it's almost a note to myself in 10 years to like keep going. The future version of me is reliant on the action I take today. Like my future version of me is relying on the fact that I continue to show up and not give up. And so it's like I'm making that future version of me proud more than anybody else.
Yeah.
Right? Like the you versus you thing. Anyway.
I like the winner portion a lot.